Okay, there you go. Little bit about Dow. I'll spend just a couple of minutes. Our ambition is to become the most innovative, customer-centric, sustainable, and inclusive material science company in the world. And that hasn't changed. We are committed to this ambition. Dow's business portfolio consists of plastics, industrial intermediates, silicones, and coatings. So those are the three business portfolio, and we deliver broad range of differentiated science-based products and solutions to our customers in high-growth market segments like packaging, infrastructure, mobility, and consumers applications. I'm going backwards. I think it's this one. Okay. So our global footprint, as you can see, we have 106 manufacturing sites in 31 countries. We recently reported our fourth quarter and 2022 annual sales of $56.9 billion. So we have a pretty large footprint globally, and what I'm talking about is a solution that gets implemented, in all these locations. So we are making quite a bit of progress. I spoke here last year and several years before, and I think the story is building about this topic. We are continuing to go down the journey of our digital Dow strategy. There's a lot of information in public domain, and that strategy is intended to really improve our employee and customer experience. That's at the broad aspect. That's what the strategy is for. The customer experience comes into play here, and I'll explain that in a second. Digital manufacturing specifically, and the investment that we're making in that strategy is a subset of the overall Dow strategy. And that digital manufacturing strategy is specifically expected to make direct contributions both in the productivity improvement and in growth. So glad to see that our numbers came as number one for reliability and AU. We're going to talk a lot about that here. So that's really the case. So when we talk about growth, right, our number one priority at Dow is safety. That's the number one priority. But right after that is reliability. So the growth part is important because we need to run our assets reliably. And when I say growth, I mean two things. One, a revenue uplift, right? So produce more product with the assets that we do have, so run them better without making additional capital investments. So that's really critical. And then the second piece is product supply reliability, improvements in that. So make the products that our customers want and deliver it to them when they're expecting. So that's that customer experience index. At Dow, I mean, it's measured formally. It impacts how really our performance evaluation happens. It's a part of that. So the reliability story and the CXI is extremely important for us. So with that, we're going to talk a lot more about reliability, and we're going to talk a lot more about maintenance. So maybe I'll start out maybe just with a show of hands, ask a couple of simple questions. One, let me ask you, how many of you are able to create maintenance notifications or update plant maintenance work orders right in the field where the work's happening? Yeah, it's a few of us. How about some critical master data, right? So equipment and function. I'm only concentrating on reliability type of stuff. Functional location, equipment, that kind of master data. How about keeping them synchronized in multiple source systems that all kind of is part of your ecosystem to do maintenance? Yeah, and that's what I would expect. And to be honest, I mean, that's what this is all about. So I'll walk through this slide, but we are no different at Dow. If you look at on the right-hand side, 1, 2, and 3, if you look at the CMMS, as Peter was talking about, and the other systems that kind of makes up the overall suite of maintenance, right? All these systems in our legacy infrastructure is kind of loosely integrated, okay? with complicated interfaces. When that happens, we end up with disjointed data sets, difficult to kind of aggregate things together, and resulting in difficulty to come up with the approach for analytics, right? So that's really an issue that we're dealing with. And if you don't have that end-to-end analytics approach, right, for asset performance management, even though the data is there, by the way, in all these systems, then we can't really do what we need to do to drive that asset utilization #1 response, right, up for that, which is the real problem, because we need that information for improving our assets performance. So that's kind of like a problem that I want to kind of stage for this conversation. So everybody and most everybody is facing this issue. So in order to address that challenge as part of our digital journey, we have made significant investment in state-of-the-art enabling foundational capabilities. Let's start with like #4, so secure, reliable, and scalable high-speed industrial cellular network. That's huge, because we want to have connectivity in the field where the work's happening, which in turn enables secure mobility, right? #5. So once you have that network, then you have the secure mobility. And then we have created a centralized data repository. We call it Integrated Data Hub. And I'll talk a lot more about that part. But once we have those three components in place, that's where the real kind of work starts, because now you have the infrastructure where you can do something with your data. So we're investing significant amount of effort in that #7. So organizing, harmonizing our asset data in a hierarchical form. So in doing all of that, what does that give us, right? So now suddenly we have those really missing ingredients in terms of enabling capabilities. So now we can design, develop, deploy tools and capabilities for CMMS, other manufacturing ecosystems, plus commercial APM, scheduling, some of those capabilities, put it together and get them integrated through that middle layer, which is the Integrated Data Hub. Okay, so you can kind of see how all these things building together. Once you have that, what we are able to do then is to deploy Dow's connected worker platform on that secured wireless network, so that our colleagues in the field can intuitively look up information that they're wanting to do their work and make quick and informed decisions. So for instance, if you're doing maintenance, they can look up parts availability, MRO parts availability, right? Or if there's an issue and they got to pull up an engineering drawing, they can do that. Infrastructure is there. Work remains, by the way, to get the data in all that, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But that's the whole piece that comes together. Once you have all of this, then kind of two things happen, right? One, you're giving the information in the hands of our colleagues who are actually doing the real work in the field, and they can access that information to do the work. But the second part that's really a game changer, in my opinion, that we couldn't do this thing just a couple of years ago, is that now the folks who are doing the work and using the system can actually update the information right where the work is happening. So the quality of the data is significantly better, right? And it's current, it's relevant, and it's consistent. So we hear at ARC all the time, data quality, garbage in, garbage out type of stuff. It's not like anybody's intending to put garbage in the system, but by the time you do something, if you're doing maintenance work and then you got to go back to your desk and enter all that, some information gets lost, it's on a piece of paper. Instead, it's happening right here in the field. So that kind of gives us the whole kind of approach to set up our enablement to analytics, okay? So with that, I wanted to bring a little bit, double click on these slides, because as I was drawing this thing, each time I come to ARC, I think this one or two element gets added. Like 10 years ago, there was only 2 things on this slide, so it's interesting. But I think I'll start with the left side of the box where it says ERP and maintenance. So that's your, whatever the CMMS system that you do have, right? Everybody has something to do with the APM, like your reliability analytics systems and your scheduling system. And there's a lot more than this, but I just kept it simple. So you are always synchronizing data, like key elements like cost and history are the one that I'll pick between the APM and the CMMS, and then the scheduling. This is that interfaces that I talked about, loosely connected, complicated interfaces. And I remember doing it, so that's how it is right now even. But the difference now with the data hub is that we can selectively move certain pieces of data besides just the APM or scheduling or MRO into that hub. And the other thing that I didn't draw it here, but it is critical that we don't kind of throw away everything in the name of big analytics word, is that our APM or our scheduling or our ERP system, they do have native analytics capability, and it is powerful. So if you want to go in at the APM level and look for certain things that I'll talk in a minute, that's available to us. But it can only do analytics on the data that resides in the system, right? So we have a lot of other things. So historian data or engineering data, along with the cost and the visibility that is needed for the maintenance data, the history, all of that stuff, and you can bring in and then slowly move to the right to the hub and keep it relevant. So only pull the relevant data, because a company the size of ours, there would be performance issues if you try to like move everything. I've tried it once. You don't want to do it. So you can do it, but move the relevant data, keep it synchronized, and then you start gaining some confidence, okay? That, okay, I have the information I'm looking for, and it's going there. So what? So you have this. Well, four different things that I think it's relevant that we should talk about. It gives you different analytics to the right. It gives you a whole different possibility, because now you can pull in operations data, tie with the maintenance data, tie with the engineering data, tie with the APM data. So there's a lot of things that you could do. And depending on who is trying to solve what problem, the second piece is this manufacturing insights. It's a Dow term that we're using. But our experts who are working, we call experts close to machine, they are creating their own dashboard for alarms and events. It's the one thing. Guys in the IS is creating a completely different set of dashboards, right? All because the data is there. And think about how we did it or how we are doing still in the data that's not. It's either in some SQL databases or in spreadsheets, and you're constantly bringing stuff together, massaging it to put those views together. Instead, now you have it in one location. And then if you have a template, right, for a certain, let's say, DCS system, we can replicate it a lot faster at the other places. And the source system remains the same. So it is a big deal, okay, to get to the second point. And third one is, to me personally, a big deal is the real-time decision-making. It's our connected platform. Everybody uses our phones, right? And how many decisions that we make just because we have it in front of us, right? It's the same concept. We have a long way to go, but we have the platform, we have the infrastructure, we can pull the data and make those quick decisions, because you all don't have to wait for some analytics to happen behind the scene, a bad job to run at 2 in the morning. Sometimes it just tells you, or you can get a notification. You don't have to sift through all the stuff to find out what needs to be done. So that thing is really powerful. And then I struggled with the last one, because every time we hear AI ML, it's like, but what does that mean? It's an enablement, right? So we have all this information. Our engineers and our developers can think through that. Hey, there's quite a bit of work that has gone in, and even to get the data into the hub, there's opportunities for us to apply some machine learning routines, right? Like, I know of 1 or 2 cases, which is pretty cool. It's simple Python machine learning, or you can then buy commercially available tools. And it would get better, right? So this is the kind of our approach to analytics. I specifically zoomed in for the APM portion of it. But we have other use cases for the for the other areas. So with that, this is my last slide. So what is that giving us, right? I mean, all this stuff is great, but what's that giving us? So number one, it's giving us the APM offering that's designed to optimize the performance of Dow's production assets. That's the key. And 60% of us said that increasing reliability and improving asset utilization is the most important. It really is really most important. After safety, it really is the most important thing. So it gives us now the tools and strategy to kind of make some of those decisions. Real-time data collection at the point where the maintenance is getting done. That's huge. So sometimes we are doing rounds, inspections, or we are doing the maintenance. We have deployed this in 84 plants. We have a lot more to do. So it's not like it's everywhere, but we have it in our largest sites right now. Quicker decision making, again, in the field is critical. Less stranded data. This is huge. You have a lot of disconnected systems otherwise. You need all the data to be connected. And then from the point of entry to the core backend, the system of record, the data remains synchronized. So if you have functional location or equipment, it's only sourced in one location, and that's in our ERP system, and then we federate it to wherever it needs to go. Otherwise, in the legacy architecture, you're maintaining equipment here, you're maintaining equipment there. Next thing you know, you decommission equipment, you probably get it done in one location, it's stranded in other locations. And if you look at Dow's history, I mean, we divest stuff, so next thing you know, we have the big data readiness team working on trying to figure out what happened here. So it's a big deal for us, and which in turn gives us the enablement of the analytics. So I just gave a few examples: bad actors, identification of top opportunities, maintenance cost visibility is a big deal, right? I mean, you gotta have to see. You can almost prioritize it and say, okay, where do I really need to zoom in? Optimizing PPM and critical spares program. We have big dollars invested in our inventory. We want to optimize that part of it. And really, the last thing is it's in our top two or three things that we need to do this year is to move from time-based to risk-based inspection, right? And essentially optimizing our preventative maintenance program. So that's our approach, and I look forward to the panel discussion.